Thank you very much. Wow. I'm very excited to be here. It's great to be in person. It's great to see all these beautiful faces. Good morning. My name's Roulette, Mayor for the City of Vacaville. And it's just a pleasure to be here. So much energy in this room, and we have so many great things to talk about today. I hope you're as excited as I am because we're changing Vacaville, honestly. The choices that our city council and our staff have made is going to put Vacaville in a different light moving forward. And I hope that you guys see the vision that we see because it's going to be very exciting, very great for Vacaville. So I'm going to probably not go on script, so it's going to throw this guy off on the slides. However, we'll run through. So again, it's great to be here. 2 years, 2 incredibly long years of lockdown. And as you guys probably know, I grew up here. I've been on the city council going on my 14th year. And these last 2 years have been the most incredibly hard years, not only personally, but as a public official in the city of Vacaville. I know all of you in this room has had some kind of loss to this pandemic. Yeah, it's tough. Over the 2 years, we've seen financial loss, personal loss. Businesses have lost. We've lost loved ones. Or just time. We've lost time. We've lost 2 years of doing this and being together. And just seeing everyone here today, and Tom Gitti was telling me, 128 people RSVP'd and 129 showed up. We miss that social interaction, and I know I do. I thrive on it. I love it, and it's just so great to see everyone. So through these losses, we also had a wildfire, the LNU Lightning Complex fire, which basically evacuated 1/3 of this community. We saw many changes at City Hall. We transitioned from an at-large to a district election. 7 council members, and I want to thank every single one that's here today. And I do want to let everyone know that Roy Stockton is obviously a sheriff. He changed his shift to morning shift, and he couldn't be here today. But he wanted to make sure that I let everyone know that he wishes he could be here, but he's out there protecting our streets. So we moved to remote, just like everyone else did. Virtual meetings, city council meetings, commission meetings. We increased all our online services and increased community outreach efforts. So what exactly did we learn in these last 2 years? Lots of changes. We learned a lot. Vacaville is resilient, and Vacaville is strong. Our community hung in there, and we worked together with our community partners and met everyone's needs. Our staff, our incredible staff, remained committed and provided excellent service during this pandemic. Our new council, our very new council, recognized community needs and continues to support critical strategies and efforts aimed at economic recovery and bringing housing to Vacaville. We learned how to pivot, adapt, and assist. As an organization, we continued to provide all essential services and keep this community safe during the pandemic. This included reinvesting CARES funds and Measure M funds into the community through the new programs and services, such as Senior Hot Meal Program, which was an incredible program, our business grants to help our businesses, homeowner and rental assistance. And finally, we learned that the City of Vacaville is poised to capitalize on its vision of this great community. And through the leadership of this city council, the commitment from our dedicated staff, and the collaborated efforts of our partners in other agencies and communities, we see 2022 as an opportunity for a beginning of a renaissance here in Vacaville, an opportunity for new economic development, new housing opportunities, new amenities, and quality of life elements. And now this is where I really go off script, because Sheila probably wrote this for me, and I appreciate it. I don't know if she's here today, but thank you. It just says, introduce my city manager, but I'm not just going to introduce my city manager. For those folks that don't know, as we entered into this pandemic, we had a change at the city manager position, probably during one of the most trying times in Vacaville. And not only did this city manager step up, he took his employees and made it a team. He brought everyone up and got them on a new track. And we were just learning what was going on. We didn't know. If you think back 2 years ago, there was silly things being said, crazy things being done. And this city manager, and I can't thank him enough, and I know I'm probably embarrassing him because he's very humble, but he raised us all up, and he helped this brand new council, and we all drove together, and we had that vision, and that vision obviously was to make sure our citizens were safe. But as the world slept, the city of Vacaville pushed on. And when I'm talking about what we've done, and he's going to go into great detail, I'm going to steal probably a little bit of your script now, is our biomanufacturing is going to change the landscape of Vacaville. Although the outlets have been a great source of income for the city of Vacaville, I don't believe that we're going to be Vacaville, the outlets, or Vacaville, the nut tree. It's going to be biomanufacturing, and I can't thank this man enough for him and his staff. It's no one person does it all, but this man pulled us through this, and it's just going to be an incredible ride, and I've enjoyed the journey so far. We got lots of things to come. So, Aaron Bush, if you could please come up here, our city manager.
Wow. Okay, well, good morning and welcome. Thank you very much, Mayor, for those kind words and humbling words. It is a fantastic opportunity to be here before you this morning. Okay, so we got to do this. Okay, that's the first fun moment in this speech, so good. Hopefully that's the last. All right, well, thank you, Mayor. I really appreciate the kind words and the support from you and the rest of the council to entrust in me, taking the lead for this amazing city. Real quickly, for those of you who don't know much about me, and hopefully that's a lot of you, I've been in municipal government for nearly 34 years now, and I've worked for, this is my 5th and final jurisdiction. And as the mayor mentioned in his intro remarks, I've seen a lot in my career, but never what we've endured these past 2 years. And I will tell you that, I live by that adage, calm seas don't make good sailors. We have a lot of excellent sailors in this room and in our organization because of what we've been through. So it is fantastic to be here. And nothing like getting started at a in-person meeting with, a simple power room and now that you've had a meal that will last for, an amazing meal that will last for a week, and I'll try to keep you entertained and everything. So with that, I truly do believe that we are poised for a renaissance. And what I'm being tasked to do in my role is to help our organization see where we're going, where we're at, what we've been through, and where are we going next. So today, that's my part. My task is to share that image with you of our vision of where we're going. Okay, so a couple more images that I'd like to start with, just to set the stage of our economic conditions. We were all looking at those images that we see familiar with COVID and all, but these are some other images that were very important to us in the finance world as we were beginning to prepare our budget. We were all looking at these very cautiously because these were images that were representing possible recovery scenarios during the pandemic. This first particular one is the worst case scenario, the L scenario, because there's no point of recovery where it catches back up. Thankfully, we didn't get there. This next one is the W scenario, where there was a quick rebound followed by another fall. because of related to pandemic impacts. Thankfully, we didn't hit that one either. This one, the V recovery, though, is one that we did manage to capitalize on. And that's shown by a dip in our revenues, but an amazing recovery. And in fact, fortunately for Vacaville, our recovery was even better than the V scenario that I showed here. Our TOT tax and our parks revenues definitely dropped during the pandemic, but sales tax performed even better than we could ever imagine. And I'll share some of those details with you in just a moment. As a result of our amazing recovery, we were able to our prior council in the 2021 budget took a cautious and strategic approach to our budget. And as a result, we kind of put things on hold. But as a result of that, and with this kind of recovery, for the 21-22 budget, our council has invested in some amazing one-time programs and new services and programs that I'm going to share with you today, because that really sets the stage for where we're going ahead next. So now just a couple of slides to illustrate my point about our recovery. This first one is property tax. As you can see here by the numbers, we experienced a growth of 7% increase over 2021, okay? For sales tax, even greater returns. In 2021-22, we had a $14 million growth in sales tax. And that's a trend that we also had with our Measure M tax, which I'll talk about in just a moment. So that's an increase of nearly 14%. As a result of that kind of recovery, our general fund is healthy. And so compared to our estimates in our general fund and our actual projected revenue, you can see that we have nearly a 6% growth in our general fund reserve, which equates to roughly an increase of nearly $7 million. So what that means is as we forecast our economic trends going forward over the next 5 years, we have a strong, healthy budget. And this council's committed to investing that budget back into the community and doing some great things for all of us here. Some very important projects through our Measure M, and I'll get to highlight those for you in just a moment. So here's some other fun economic indicators, and there's a lot happening on this screen, but I'm just going to highlight a couple of these. But these also kind of are good news, bad news type things. The first one is the good news, which I mentioned just a moment ago, is our sales tax and how much that's increased over the past year. The next one, however, for those who are homeowners here, is very good news because, as it shows here, housing market has increased nearly 14%. However, for those that are looking to enter the home ownership world here in Vacaville and Solano County and even the whole region, this is somewhat troubling because it's tough. And so that's another big important focus area for the council and your staff to how to address that. Some other indicators for our economy. This one is the labor force and of Vacaville residents and employment numbers. As you can see, our employment is fairly consistent with pre-pandemic levels, which is good, and it mirrors what's happening in Solano County. So that's a good thing. Here again, though, is that a greater illustration of the housing market. The slide on the left illustrates that median home income prices have increased in Vacaville and the county just above 20% in the last year, and over 30% when compared to 2 years ago. So again, if you're a homeowner, that's great news. If you're just trying to get into the market, there's some challenges there. Another indicator is hotel occupancy rates. We were kind of fortunate because while we're not, Napa that thrives on the tourism industry, our hotel occupancy rates were very steady during the pandemic. And this graph shows that we're getting very close to returning back to those pre-pandemic levels. Okay, so now that I've shared with you some of where we're at with regards to our economic conditions, what are some of the challenges that we see going forward? And so that's really important to me as we start planning for going forward with our organization and what we're here to do, because as the mayor mentioned, we're here to serve. And so we need to make sure that we're adequately addressing and looking forward to all those challenges. And I got to tell you, there's nothing like stepping into a new job. And usually I've always been of the practice that you need 3 years to learn what's going on. Throw in a pandemic for 2 years, it makes it a little challenging. But so here we go. We're trying to identify what we're up against. While our local employment levels are on the rise and businesses are rebounding, there's still much more that can be done to help promote living wage jobs in our community. We want to make sure that we add new economic growth that provides living wage jobs for our residents here so that they can live and work here in Vacaville. This is especially important given the increasing housing prices that I've mentioned and outlined for you. Another important area or challenge that hopefully is just a temporary indicator is that we did experience a temporary reduction in some city services as a result of the staffing shortage because of the pandemic. That was just recently, and I want to thank the school district for hanging in there with us while we had some challenges with our after-school program. But hopefully that is over and we're moving forward now in a positive way. And finally, I want to address the increasing public safety matters related to increased criminal activity that we're getting from our surrounding neighbors, as well as the increased threat of wildfires. So those are some of the challenges that we see at the community level. On an organizational level, these challenges are probably very near and dear to most of you who operate a business here. We're no different. The first important thing that we're dealing with is, what is labeled as this silver tsunami. I was, and while I don't have silver, I could be there, but I was at a recent city managers conference, and this was the #1 concern expressed by all the cities here in California. The loss of talent, and then the ability to attract and retain new talent. It's tough. And no matter wherever I go around town and you see all the signs, hiring, jobs available, doesn't matter what business you're in, you're all having that same problem. So hang in there. We're getting through it together. As the city continues to grow and expand, so too does the need for increased maintenance on all these great services that we provide and all the facilities and buildings that we have. It's no surprise that as the city continues to grow and expand, the need for new equipment, new infrastructure is also there. And so how do we continue to fund that? Because the cost of maintenance is not keeping up with the cost of the services. So that's something that we definitely have to look at very closely. Next is, if things weren't challenging enough at the local level, we also have to manage new mandates and legislative efforts from the federal and state governments on matters relating to housing, energy conservation, and transportation, to name just a few. And I will just say that, especially with regards to housing, the new mandates out there are really interesting. They're really aimed at taking away local government control and really pushing forward a lot of new programs that we have to be very mindful and how mirror and match how those work with our objectives for our housing strategies that I'll talk to you in just a moment. We're also very focused on improving our community engagement efforts. That's very important to us, and I think that that's something that kept us going during this pandemic was, through all the virtual meetings and Zooms. It was tough, but we're trying to further expand on those efforts to stay engaged with our community and get them at the table. That's super important to this council and our staff. And finally, something I never thought I'd see in all my work years is the new business model at work. I'm old school. I want everybody to be in their chair, but everybody now, and sure enough, it took a pandemic to say, nope, offices are vacant. But that's kind of tough to do with the government agency. There's just some jobs that we can't do from our office or home, or you have to be out there. But I will say that this is a very important feature and element that we are all facing, because this is the new business model that is going to attract and retain those employees that we're finding so hard to bring to our organization. So with that, my big question is, how do we address all these challenges and turn them into new opportunities for the community and our organization? Simple answer: a good plan and even better people to carry it out. I want to echo what the mayor said in terms of our staff. They gave new meaning to the word essential workers during all this. I can't tell you how committed and dedicated they were to be out there at all hours of the day during this to keep all your services going. So I just want to acknowledge that. Okay, now the plan. So the plan, I'm very excited about this particular because there is a lot of information contained in this document. As I mentioned, I've been around for 30 plus years, and I've seen what some agencies call strategic plans, but they are all very linear and mechanical, and they didn't really live and breathe. And that's what a city is, right? It lives and breathes, and you have to be fluid, and you have to move, and you have to adjust and adapt. So in just a moment, I'm going to cover some of the current priorities we're working on, but I also want to encourage you to visit our website, where you can find all kinds of information on this particular document. You'll also find information on quarterly updates on all the great work that your staff is doing for you in the community. But before I cover those, I want to just give you some insight onto the main purpose of the strategic plan. So these are the 5 goals: efficient services, an engaged community, strengthening the local economy, public safety, and ensuring quality of life. But the purpose is right there at the center of it. The feature is that I want to mention most to you is creating a vibrant city. The synergy between these particular elements really goes towards the relationship of interacting with each other so that we can build an amazing city. You can't do one of these without affecting the other. And as your staff, we look at it that way because we want to make sure that we're, the cause and effect, that where we increase jobs, we increase housing. So it's a very important relationship that we've are trying to do and accomplish through our strategic plan. So now that I've introduced the purpose, I want to share with you some highlights of these particular goals, okay? And so I've got some videos of some of the highlights of what we've been able to accomplish thus far with our strategic plan and where we're going next for the next year. Okay, you're not so lucky. That's not the conclusion of the presentation. I still have 300 more slides to get through, but I'll be quick. I know that breakfast is starting to get you. Okay. So this, the first one is strengthen economic development efforts. Again, this was the goal that was ranked the #1 priority for our city council. The reason for that is because of the importance of bringing new wealth into the community, our businesses and our residents. The primary elements of this goal include focus on biotech and advanced manufacturing strategies that we currently are working on, continue to implement the Vacaville COVID economic recovery strategy, offer assistance in business expansion and relocation efforts, provide site selection for businesses looking to locate in Vacaville, and here again the most important one, improve the quality of life of Vacaville residents and business owners. Okay, that's where it starts, is improving economic wealth for the community. Now, because of time, I'm going to kind of skim over this one, which is difficult to do because it's such an important topic, as the mayor mentioned. Biomanufacturing is our future, I believe. When I first got here, I was so impressed to learn that we are home to the world's largest biomanufacturer in Genentech. So thank you for all that you do. But we're just getting started. You know, it was a couple of years ago that, you know, my economic development director, Don Burris, and I sat down and said, you know, we have something here, but what is it? Let's go figure it out. And so with the council's blessing, we began on a 3-phase strategy. And we've completed the first 2 phases, which was, you know, attracting more industries to come here, put together the strategy. And our second phase was the creation of the California Biomanufacturing Center here in Vacaville, and I'll highlight that in just a moment. But our third phase now is to begin all of our marketing and promotional activities. The Bio International Conference is going to be in San Diego later this year. we're on everybody's map. We're on everybody's to-go list. They want to check us out because of what we're doing. So our future phases, beyond that, you can see in blue, we're also going to be exploring, in addition to what we have on the books right now, we're going to be exploring potential opportunities with our great partners at the community college. Their facility there is top rank and just second to none. So it's a great amenity for this community. And then beyond that, we're also looking to the slide on the right is what we call our Northeast growth area. Another potential opportunity for some great investment from outside companies looking to locate and expand perhaps on our biomanufacturing into the bioindustrial sciences. But this could be an amazing state-of-the-art 21st century business park that provides housing, parks, retail center, and other amenities. If it's done right, we can very well become the epicenter of biomanufacturing in the United States. This is just one artist's rendering of what the new biomanufacturing campus can look like over there on that property that everybody's seen for many, many years, vacant between the father's house and Kaiser, right along Interstate 80. As you can see, this is very fortunate for Vacaville. We had an investor come from the East Coast who's looking to bring their corporate headquarters here to Vacaville. And not only that, we're looking for local businesses that are going to expand here as well. So we're very, very excited, as the mayor mentioned. Our next project that I'd like to highlight is Midway Commerce Center, more potential for advanced manufacturing. So while we're focusing a lot on biomanufacturing, we also have opportunities for advanced manufacturing. It's truly overwhelming when you think about it that, you know, we want to be greedy. We want to have it all. And we have the opportunity. We've been very diligent about, you know, telling logistics, you know, we need you, but there's other opportunities for you. But here, we also, because of our access and to all the major rail points, which I'll highlight in just a second, we can also do some amazing things that create higher living wage jobs. And advanced manufacturing is another example of that here at the Midway Commerce Center. I mentioned that we're at the center of business. When I first got here, it was kind of interesting because, you know, we weren't the Bay Area, we weren't the capital, but we truly are at the center of business. With our immediate access to one of the largest interstate freeways, as well as our proximity to multiple airports and a deep water port, we are primed to attract new business investment. So now on to our COVID recovery strategy. This is another important effort for our economic development that's underway. It's aimed at mitigating the negative impacts associated with the COVID pandemic. And it's been a long year putting it together. And just last month, our team gave the council an update on that. And I would encourage you to take a look at our website to get an update. But this is absolutely aimed at helping small businesses and other business owners that were struggling through the pandemic. This is just an example of the many different activities that are planned for this year. And again, I'm not going to jump through all of those, but our Shop Local campaign that we're partnering with, you know, our Chamber of Commerce partners here is just one of those amazing features that we're trying to do to reach out to help those in need to get back to business before the pre-pandemic levels, as well as welcome new businesses that choose to select Vacaville as their new business home. Here's a fun little tool. If you're interested in what's going on in Vacaville, it's on our economic development webpage. It's our story map. This will tell you anything and everything that's going on in our community. Okay, so this is a fabulous tool that I would encourage you to take a look at when you have some free time to see all the exciting things that are going on in our community. So a couple of interesting features that were included in economic development that you wouldn't normally consider, but were highlighted in that video were our downtown specific plan and a couple of our major parks. The downtown specific plan is an important element of building a strong economy as the plan aims to reinvest and reinvigorate the downtown as a 24/7 destination with new housing and new retail opportunities. But it does a lot more than that. And I'll get to it at the end of my presentation, but the downtown specific plan also provides that sense of community, that small town charm. And it's really the heart and soul of Vacaville. But we really see it as an opportunity to be an economic engine as well. I mentioned the Parks and Rec master plan. This is another contributor to the overall economy, is our park system. It attracts new families, new businesses, because the first thing that prospective companies come in is they ask, okay, what about your parks? What about your housing? What about your schools? This plays right into that attraction effort. And the passage of our Parks and Rec Master Plan in the past few months is an important piece to that attraction effort. So with that, another video. Okay, I still got more, sorry. And Debbie, the mayor, took a lot of my time, so I'm going as fast as I can, but in all seriousness. Okay, a lot of activity going on, a lot of exciting stuff. And I'll talk about it in just a minute, a little bit more about the range of the diversity of housing that you saw there. But the first thing that we need to talk about is the housing element. This is an important effort that most cities are going through right now. All the cities in Solano County are actively working on their housing elements because it's time per the state. But this is an important document that really identifies what are our housing needs, what are some of the limitations, and what are our plans to put new housing back into our community to accommodate all those new workers. Workforce housing is the new buzz term. We need to provide that type of housing here for all groups of folks that, you know, from the frontline workers to the executives, and that's our objective here. But to help us do that, we have to go beyond the housing element. And this is something unique that I give a lot of credit to our council and to our staff. Most cities would stop at the housing element, which can be a check-the-box exercise. I know because I did it for 30 years. This housing strategy is actually going to really look under the hood and find out what are the real limitations out there, what are the real challenges that are preventing us from achieving workforce housing in this community. And so I'm very excited about this effort to identify where we can add new missing middle housing is what it's called, which is another word for workforce housing. So stay tuned to that. For that, we hope to be back to the City Council in April or May with an update on that. These are some of the attached housing choices. You know, one of a key element of workforce housing is multifamily opportunities. And the video showed a lot of these projects, and as you can see, they're located in the right spot, next to the services, next to the freeways, next to our transit centers, services, so it can be walkable. And then we also have, you know, public facilities close by as well. So with that, the next one that I'm going to get into is a very important topic, and then that's our public safety. Just want to highlight, I wasn't planning on doing it, but that last slide, district commander, is just an example of our commitment to keeping the community safe, but also being accountable and in touch. And it's something that is a very important strategy or part of our community engagement strategy. So I want to thank our new chief, Ian Smutzler, for your dedication and commitment to that. Thank you. So we do have some other projects that we're working on to keep the community safe. Our first one is our partnering effort with our colleagues over there at Solano County on their regional hazard mitigation plan. This is a very important document, and the one that we have currently adopted right now is really narrowly focused on Vacaville. But as we learned with the LNU complex fire doesn't know any boundaries. And so this is an exciting effort that the county is taking the lead on and working with the cities to put together a comprehensive regional plan to address that subject and other hazards. So I'd like to thank the supervisors for your effort on that, and thank you for partnering with us. Another important effort that we're undertaking right now is our audit of our police department. And while they're known as a very highly respectable and amazing department, it's important for us to maintain and build upon a positive relationship between our police department and the people they protect and serve. It's absolutely critical to the well-being of our community. So we view this audit as an excellent opportunity to assess the efficacy of the services delivered and to strengthen the community's trust in our police department. And so Chief has embraced this wholeheartely, and this is an opportunity to show all the great things that we do and learn where we can do even better. And this will be an absolute transparent process, and we're planning to have several town hall forums on this particular subject where the members of the community can actively participate in this process. So look forward to that. This next group, can't say enough about these folks. Our Family Resource Center and our Family Investigative Response Services team. Talk about some essential workers during the pandemic. These guys, right there at the head of the line. Our council could not invest enough money in this to give them, more money to do the amazing services that they do. And here on the slide, you see some examples of the amazing work that they do for our community. As the mayor mentioned, we're all social creatures, and the pandemic took a lot of that away from us. And there were a lot of hardships, a lot of loss. These two groups helped make a difference in a big way. Another important effort that I'm really excited about that gets a lot of talk is the new mental health assistance. And once again, our partners at the county are leading the way with this effort, the Mobile Crisis Response Program. It's been started in a few other jurisdictions, but this is a program that utilizes the services of Uplift Family Services, who provides clinicians, case managers, and peer support specialists, along with our new partners here with Medic Ambulance Services, to go into the community as a team to support children, youth, and adults in crisis, regardless of insurance or immigration status. This new and exciting program is focused on de-escalating high-pressure situations and getting people the help that they need. This program is expected to start here in Vacaville at the end of this month, and I think it will be a fabulous addition. Take some pressure off of our police officers and put them in contact with the trained professionals to help de-escalate situations. So we're very excited about that, which leads for more opportunities for our police officers to get back and do the great things that they do with our youth in the police activities leagues. So many kids looking for so many opportunities to do some great things. PAL has been there for a long, long time and will continue to expand our services now that it's under the lead of our police department. So with that, now I'm going to turn to a very important topic from my standpoint, and that's efficient services. And the Oscar goes to... So there were a lot of highlights of city services that your employees provide to the city, and those services will continue to grow and expand as we grow and expand with our economic development efforts and our housing markets. So it's going to be an important topic for our budget discussion coming forward this year. But just real quickly wanted to highlight how we're able to provide all those services, because the second top priority for our council and community was good budget practices and being good stewards of our finances. And so we do that with budget tools and policies. And these are just some of the examples that we're currently doing. And I'm just happy to share with you real quickly that, the council a long time ago established an OPEB trust fund about 15 years ago. They also did tiered employee contributions and adoption of an OPEB funding policy, which increased the funding that goes into the annual ADC contribution. I know that's a lot of technical stuff, but it's a good way of saying that we actually reduced our long-term unfunded liability by almost $30 million this past year. So we look to continue those trends with our pensions, because anybody that works with pensions knows that those costs continue to increase. And so we look forward to bringing to council some new policies as well on creating a pension rate stabilization trust, as well as doing some other things towards advanced payments towards our unfunded liabilities. And then finally, something that we want to do to make our budget process even more transparent to the community, which I just happen to think is pretty wide open right now. But we're going to include new transparency tools that include a program called Open Budget and Open Checkbook. Okay, I couldn't not talk about the American Rescue Plan Act. As hopefully you're all familiar with that term. The president in 2021 signed into law the American Rescue Plan Act, which was to provide assistance for those that suffered health and economic impacts from the COVID pandemic. The city's allocation of ARPA funding is just over $12.6 million. And at the end of October 26th, the council directed staff to begin some outreach surveys to find out what our community wanted. So for 2 months, we've been talking to our community, finding out just exactly what their interests and needs were. And at our last city council meeting, we talked about some ideas for the use of those funds. And as you can see, those are highlighted here on the board. We anticipate coming back to the council for some final action on this, so we can get that money back into the community at either the March or April meeting. So stay tuned. Another important part of our budget policy is Measure M funds. As most of you know, Measure M was a 20-year extension approved by the voters in November of 2016. It increased from a 1/4 cent sales tax to 3/4 cent sales tax beginning in April 2018. It's a general tax used for general purposes, but we're putting it to great use right now. We were pretty cautious with it to begin with last year. But as part of this year's budget, I'll show you in just a moment some of the amazing things that our council's proposed to reinvest back into the community. So with that, let's talk about community engagement. That was our first Make a Difference Day cleanup effort that took place last year. And I'm very excited that the council has supported our efforts to expand that to happening 2 times a year. And hopefully as you came in and registered this morning, you picked up a copy of our flyer for the next event, which is April 3rd. April 2. Read the flyer. Okay. So community engagement, that to me is a very important goal, and it's one that we actually added when the new council came on board, because After going through the pandemic and seeing how everybody was reeling from what I call the COVID coma, where everybody, was woken up after that first year and it's like, okay, I lost something, I want to get busy. We wanted to get back into the community. And I'll highlight another effort that we're putting forward as part of that. But it was really important for the council and us to reconnect with the community. I mentioned the district commander program. That's absolutely a reflection of community engagement, where the officers are out doing what's, best practices for neighborhood policing. But this effort goes beyond just, being out there with projects. It's also going to look at doing a full-fledged communication strategy, recognizing the diverse, languages that we have here in our community and how we can further, again, open our doors to anybody and everybody that wants to look and be partners with us. The other big side of that, though, is our multiple projects that are being funded at community engagement through Measure M. Now, I know you can't see that. I can barely see it up here, but I just wanted to illustrate that, use this slide to illustrate how many investments we're making this year as part of Measure M investments. There's a lot here. And unfortunately, my appetite was a little bit bigger than I could support, because much like businesses are experiencing, we have some staffing challenges, and we also have some supply chain issues. So, but these park improvements that we're talking about doing are in the works. Each district is going to get some park upgrades so that everyone can benefit from those improvements in their community. This is another exciting one that we wanted to highlight, was our 5-year pilot programs. Again, Measure M funding that gets out into the community, and you can see those items on there. Equity and inclusion training, adaptive sensory equipment installation in parks, property abatement, neighborhood cleanups, youth scholarships for low-income families, our city council district benefit program, and then grant matching pool to help go out and get other people's money to help invest back into our community. I mentioned another exciting part of our community engagement, and that's Cov Connect. This is how we're reconnecting with the community at all levels. It's all about getting back in the community at every level that we can to connect. And so that Make a Difference Day is a great example of what we're are trying to achieve with our Connect. The other item that I highlighted was the council district dollars, as we like to call them. That's an opportunity for each council member to receive money that they can then put back into their community. And these are just some of the examples that have been approved thus far. And we're currently working with Councilmember Stockton on his outreach efforts, as well as the mayor on a citywide program that we're working with on him. So that's Cov Connect. Stay tuned for more exciting examples of that as we go forward this year. Finally, I'm back to this thing again. So there was a lot of moving pieces in there, and that was just a snapshot of all the exciting things that we're doing in this community. But I want to come back to this living, breathing element, if you will, to create a vibrant city. A great example of that is our downtown specific plan, and I mentioned that a little bit earlier. But as you can see, this particular plan has all the elements that I've highlighted for you this morning. It's all about improving economic development. It's all about creating new housing opportunities in the downtown, housing opportunities that we can't get elsewhere. All those small lots that you see peppered throughout downtown, those are new opportunities for housing. We really see this as an opportunity to create a vibrant downtown, because where people are, they need services. You also have open space, a great amenity just right across the street here that is home to a lot of amazing activities and events that hopefully we're going to have again this year in full force. But you also see these investment in infrastructure improvements, complete streets, so that we can make the downtown more walkable, more safe, more easier lit, if that's such a thing. Increased lighting, increased parking opportunities and awareness. So it's all about pulling all those different elements together to get us there to create something that's very, very special. Placemaking. It's all about finding a spot for people to go to connect with one another and do all those important events. This is an exciting potential opportunity in the heart of downtown. Is, again, more placemaking opportunities, the expansion of our town square project. These are things that we're going to be working through our community engagement efforts with the downtown businesses on what are the potential opportunities here to do a lot of these improvements. And so I thank those of you who are, business owners down here for your support of this plan, and we're looking very, very forward to working with you all on this particular project as we go forward. So with that, here's the implementation that we hope to get to. As you can see, there's a lot of projects on there. So stay tuned. It's going to be a big project, but we can't do it without all of you. And speaking of which, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here this morning. It's been a privilege and an honor to talk to you and share with you all the exciting things that we're doing. But, that old adage, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, I like to appreciate and acknowledge all of the partners that we work with, and I know this just captures half of who are you in the room, but so thank you for all that you do for us. And with that,
Thank you, Aaron. We are running a little past schedule, but if your patience allows, the mayor's going to say some closing remarks, and then maybe we'll, oh no? Okay, any questions for the mayor or our city manager? Ooh. No questions at all? No, someone's pointing, Dave.
Ed Forrest.
Sorry, Ed.
Resident of Vacaville for 35 years. And I love the city very much. And I continue to be impressed with what's been done and what's going to be done. With that being said, I have one question. Aesthetics are important. What are the plans for Merchant Street, which many see as as a gateway to Vacaville?
thank you, sir. So that's a great question, and then, unfortunately, a good portion of that is included in that downtown specific plan. And so that was critical to us when we established the boundaries of the downtown plan, because we knew that was kind of the gateway for City Hall even. So we're excited about the potential opportunities down there, and our economic development team is constantly out there pounding the streets working with folks, and our new community development director, Erin Morris, and her staff are actively working with businesses and ways to enhance the aesthetics down there. Ultimately, long term, there's also plans, potentially for some streetscape improvements with lighting and new signage opportunities. One of the things that I skimmed over there real quickly is that the council invested or allocated $500,000 for downtown implementation, which is basically street beautification improvements for businesses. So that, in connection with some of the future and planned CIP projects that the city looks to invest in, we see a remarkable opportunity to turn around downtown and especially Merchant Street.
That was easy. They're both like, thank you. Nope. Thomas, go ahead.
Is an eye-opener. And my question to the city is, Travis Air Force Base is part of our community. What are we doing? Well, part of their report card is housing, affordable housing. How are we addressing in Vacaville that issue?
Thank you. That it absolutely is an important part of our plan, and that is included as part of our recovery strategy, is working very closely with the base. I've actually the mayor and I just met a couple of weeks ago with representatives from the base about that very topic, and we're continuing to meet with them and work with them on how we can help meet their housing needs as well as other needs for the base. And so it's been a long-standing relationship that we just want to see grow even more, and so we'll continue to work with them. We have some examples here of housing that's restricted for veterans. And we look to do even more of that type of housing for our, those great people that serve.
I'm just going to go a little bit further, and I know asked about housing. However, during this pandemic, everything shut down. Even the relationship between Travis and, as the city manager mentioned, we just sat down with some of the representatives from Travis. We're going to bring that partnership back because Travis Air Force Base is an incredible asset, not just to this city, but to this county. So we're going to make sure that we bring our partnership back and work even more with Travis Air Force Base. I saw one more hand.
Hi, Aaron. Thank you for your presentation. Obviously, everybody that knows me, I bleed downtown. And when it comes to downtown, I let my point of view known in a very bold manner. The downtown specific plan, now is the time to move forward with East Main, continue and have it be cohesive with Old Main Street. A lot of us businesses that have been there for years, we're always going to agree to disagree on the parking issue. We do need to address that, but please do not remove parking without adding parking. It just doesn't work. But anything that could be done, now's the time to get East Main moving. And once the shovel's in the ground, it's too late. So we do need to work together. And the new staff you have, we have had meetings and it's been quite pleasant. So it's nice to know we're moving in the right direction.
Thank you. We look forward to continue working with you, sir. Anything else? Way in the back.
Hi, I'm Rita DeAnda, and I just have a comment. I was in an area that was underneath evacuation orders, but the street that goes out of my development was completely log jammed. There were cars just bumper to bumper, so I didn't. And fortunately, I was right on the fringes, so I don't think it was a concern, but I'm sure other people had that issue too, so just a comment. It's not a suggestion or improvement on how we could do it, and maybe we just didn't leave early enough. Maybe we should have left earlier, but I didn't see any sense in going out there and sitting in a parking lot. So just wanted to let you know that. And thank you for your presentation. I think Vacaville is an exciting city, and I love to be a part of it.
Thank you. Anything else? It's yours.
I think he's trying to pass that mic as fast as he can back to me. I'm going to steal a line from our treasurer at the chamber, Ivan Jones. When things are going well, it has a lot to do with good planning and good management. And I'm going to add it has to do with good people. So thank you both for all that you do for our city. Thank you to all our other city leaders out here and just our community leaders for making this a wonderful place to live. So I hope you had a lot of time to chat with your table mates. I know you did. We could tell by the level of noise in the room. But I just wanted to point out the diversity of businesses that were represented today. We had real estate, legal services, nonprofit and social services, healthcare, builders and contractors, professional services and professional development, our police and fire, assisted living, local retail businesses, financial services, biomanufacturing, tourism, media, education, restaurants, medical services, utilities and waste management, photography, planned community developments, our museum, youth services, and other fellow chambers in our community. So thank you. That's quite a testament to our community. So thank you all for making this an important time slot on your schedule, for being here today. Your commitment and your partnership is invaluable to not just the chamber, but to everyone else in the room. Thank you. Have a great day.
Fantastic.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. You know, that clock's 5 minutes fast. So that